immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 5th edition of Court Tribunal Competition organized by Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association. I, Ashish Joshi, Secretary to the Tax Bar Association, welcome you all. This competition has become a prestigious and flagship event of our association, nurturing advocacy skills and providing practical exposure to budding professionals. We are delighted to have the teams, each comprising of 3 members. May I now proceed to invite our esteemed dignitaries onto the dais, please. I request the convener of the Moot Tribunal Competition, CA Pankaj Sancheti, a young and energetic force behind the smooth coordination of this event, to kindly come onto the dais. Next, Mr. Pankaj Sancheti. Next, with a round of applause, I invite the chairman of the competition committee, CA Amrit Kumar Kota, whose vision, structured planning and dedication have been instrumental in shaping this competition. May I now invite our beloved President of Tax Bar Association, CA Chandrasekhar Vemala, whose leadership and encouragement inspires us all, to kindly grace the dais. It is now my proud privilege to invite our guest of honor, Honorable Accountant Member, ITAT Hyderabad Bench, Sri Manjunatha Ji, to kindly grace the dais. I now request our guest of honor, Honorable Judicial Member, ITAT Hyderabad Bench, Sri Ravish Sood Sir, to kindly come onto the dais. Finally, with great honor and respect, I invite our chief guest, Honorable Vice President, ITAT Hyderabad Zone, Sri Vijay Pal Rao Sir, to kindly grace the dais. As a token of respect and also to promote environmental responsibility, saplings will now be presented to the dignitaries. I request President Sir to present saplings. Round of applause, please. May I request all the dignitaries to kindly participate in the lamp lighting ceremony.
But Thank you, sir.
Privileged to invite our guest of honor, Honorable Accountant Member, ITAT Hyderabad Bench, Sri Manjunath G. Garu, to come grace the day. I thank all the dignitaries. Now let us stand for national song Vande Mataram. C.A. Chandrasekhar Baklaji to kindly deliver welcome address.
Good morning. May I request everyone to settle down, please? Please. Request standing outside, please come inside. Pravalika, make everyone to sit. Later on you can. Request everyone to come inside. Good morning.
Good morning.
Respected Chief Guest Sri Vijay Pavarao Garu, Vice President ITAT Hyderabad Zone. Respected Guest of Honor Sri Manjunath Ji, Accountant Member ITAT Hyderabad Bench. One more Guest of Honor Sri Ravi Sood Garu, Judicial Member ITAT Hyderabad Bench. And today's Moot Tribunal Bench Members Sri Manmohan Garu and Ram Kote Garu. Respected past President of Tax Bar, esteemed members of the Tax Bar, senior professionals, distinguished participants, and all the members of AP and Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. It gives me an immense pleasure and pride on behalf of Telangana Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association to welcome you to this 5th Moot Tribunal competition being held today at this prestigious Bhaskar Auditorium, Vidla Planetarium. This Moot Tribunal competition has become one of the flagship program of our association. It is not merely a competition, it is a platform that bridges theory and practice, learning and advocacy, knowledge and presentation. It gives young professionals and members an invaluable opportunity to experience life-based proceedings and sharpen their skills in research, drafting, articulation and courtroom etiquettes. We are deeply honored to have you with us today, our chief guest, Sri Vijay Parrao Garu, Honorable Vice President of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Hyderabad Zone, who has graciously consented to inaugurate this competition and deliver his keynote address. Sir, your presence is great source of inspiration for all of us. We are equally privileged to have among us the distinguished members of IIT Hyderabad bench, Sri Manjunath sir and Sri Ravi Sood sir. Sir, your presence really elevates the academic value of this event. I also extend my sincere appreciation and welcome to our trophy sponsors, Sri Murli Garu and Srinivas Murthy Garu, and our own Amrut Kumar Kota Garu, who has contributed to the success of this event. So your encouragement strengthens our commitment to professional excellence. My dear friends, Telangana Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association, which is established in the year 1970 with more than presently 1,000 live members, has always been committed to promote professional knowledge, ethical standards, and continuous learning among the tax practitioners and professionals. Through these initiatives like Moot Tribunal competition, we aim in nurturing advocacy skills and prepare the next generation of tax professionals to uphold the dignity of the profession. To all the participants, I would like to say, treat this not merely as a competition, but as a rare learning opportunity. Present your arguments with clarity, confidence, and respect to judicial discipline. Winning is important, but learning is invaluable. With these words, I once again welcome our chief guest of honor, distinguished members, participants, sponsors, and all the attendees. I wish this competition have a great success and an enriching experience for everyone present here. Thank you. Jai Hind.
I now request our respected advisor to the Tax Bar Association, CA Ramdev Bhutraji, an experienced and guiding figure of our association, to kindly come on to the dais, please. I request the chairman of competition committee, CA Amrit Kumar Kota Garu, to briefly speak about the Moot Tribunal competition.
Saraswati, Namaskar. Honorable Chief Guest, Justice and Vice President, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Hyderabad, Sri Vijay Parrao Garu. Honorable Guest of Honor, Accounting Member, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Hyderabad Zone, Sri Manjunath Garu. Honorable Guest of Honor, and Judicial Member of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Hyderabad Zone, Sri Ravi Sood Garu. I heartily welcome all of the tax bar to the prestigious event. Our dynamic and well-disciplined President of Telangana Tax Bar Association, Sri Vemula Chandrasekhar, and vibrant and Mr. Cool, Secretary of Association, Ashish Joshi, executive members, co-operative members, special invitees, respected seniors of the profession, my dear young members, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. It is indeed a great honor to stand before you today. I express my sincere gratitude to Telangana and AP Tax Bar Association for giving me this opportunity. Today gathering is a wonderful platform for all of us to come together, exchange ideas and strengthening our collective commitments to the profession. Let us make this event truly a memorable. As a great jurist, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. once said, "The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience." I reiterate, the life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. The profession is not a static body of knowledge. It is a living and evolving discipline that demands continuous learning and growth. A professional who stops learning begins losing his relevance. As it is often rightly said, a professional who is not learning is a professional who is losing. Skill is advocacy is not merely about knowledge, it is about application. Skill is the ability to do something well. In professional, it is often the difference between the winning and losing. The best professionals in our fraternity are those who embrace lifelong learning, constantly refining the crafts and sharpening their reasoning. Even centuries ago, the great philosopher Chanakya emphasized the importance of the justice and the wisdom of the education when he said, "The king or a judge should be well versed in dharma and must be able to distinguish right from the wrong." The moot tribunal is precisely about the creating the experience, nurturing advocacy skills, sharpening analytical thinking, instilling good traps, and building confidence before standing the bench. The program is very close to my heart. During my tenure as a president of Tax Bar, I was keen to introduce a flagship and iconic initiative. In that process, we approached DGEN Income Tax Appellate Tribunal members with the idea of conducting a mock tribunal. It's not a new tribunal, we wanted to have a mock tribunal. DGEN Judicial Member Madhavi Devi graciously suggested that we instead organize a moot tribunal and guided us in conceptualizing and structuring the program. Since then, the Tax Bar has conducted this event every year. Today we proudly host 5th edition of Moot Tribunal. We remain deeply grateful to the Srimati Madhavi Devi for her vision and encouragement. On this occasion, I would also like to place on the record my heartfelt thanks to the Dandu Manmohan Garu, a retired Vice President of Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, for his remarkable contribution in authorizing Practice Guide to Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. This book is authored by the Manmohan Garu, which has been widely appreciated across the legal fraternity. I sincerely thank you from my bottom of my heart. Further, Sri Dandu Manmohan Garu and Sri Ramkote Garu have been pillars of the support in the success of the program. Their continued guidance and invaluable contributions have strengthened the Moot Tribunal year after year. They have been our permanent bench members for this event. I sincerely hope their association continues yet to come. The journey of the Moot Tribunal began modestly with the 4 teams in 2021. Today we have 12 participation teams, significant milestone. I am particularly happy to note that several past participants are now regularly appearing before the tribunal, which truly reflects the success of the impact of this initiative. I extend my appreciation to the convener Pankaj Sanjay and co-conveners Sri Leela Krishnamohan and Sri Ravanika, who have been put in tremendous efforts in the compiling case laws, mentoring participants, and coordinating the programmers meticulously. Their dedication needs a special acknowledgement. This program would have not been possible without the gracious support of the sponsors. I sincerely thank P. Murali Mohan Garu, who has sponsored the Gold Trophy, and the Integrated Clearroom Technologies Private Limited has sponsored the Bronze Trophy for this valuable support. As regards the Silver Trophy, I would prefer not to take the personal credit, as that event is truly a collective effort. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the President, Secretary, Treasurer, Executive members, corporate members, and the special invitees. Each one of us has contributed wholeheartedly to making this event a grand success. I also appreciate and extend my heartfelt thanks to the Birla management and Shyam Kothari, who has given this hall for free of cost to conduct this event. They are giving this hall every year. Last but not the least, I convey my best wishes to the participating team. May this experience enrich your professional journey, strengthen your advocacy, and prepare your greater responsibility before the bench. I also thank all the delegates present here, your gracious presence and active participation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request our respected advisor, C.A. Ramdev Mutraji, to briefly address the gathering.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, dear friends, at the outset I express regret for delaying for 10 minutes. Please turn on me, sir. I seek your apology. Pardon me. Friends, I will not talk much about all this. This has been a very prestigious program, and I want to share with you how an event can be regularized and can be developed and conceptualized. Then once myself and others were sitting with Mali Madam at then. See, we were discussing about how to organize a moot tribunal. She told, what do you want moot tribunal, what is it? Why can't you go for competition? Then this entire sketch was determined by her. Since then it is continuing, and I am really grateful to the stalwarts who initially supported us. Manmohan sir, Ram Koteya sir, Ajay Gandhi I remember. He was the first person who said, contributed to us a lot. I remember Shashank at that time was very helpful to us. I could see yourself only. There is no other Shashank in my mind. Thank you very much. So it is another thing which we are conceptualizing to have regular event, annual program. Our equation is president since then you are trying. Already we got in principle consult from a very dignitary from Delhi. Already we met several times to him, and he has considered not to read the name, and only just we are looking due to this all political disturbance etc. is not giving it time. Very renowned speaker on all subjects. So as soon as it happens, I hope the respect and support you are offering to this event, you will offer to that also. With this few basic information, I again thank the entire team and particularly our bench members on and off the bench members. I can say that. For helping us always. Thank you very much. And seeing all of the very senior faces here, Raghuram sir, Murli, and of course Salman we have forgotten. Salman is there. I am not taking your head for that Delhi program. Thank you very much.
C.A. Pravalika Gamla to introduce our guest of honor, Sri Manjunatha Ji Garu.
My privilege and honor to introduce Honorable Sri Manjunatha Ji, Accountant Member, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Honorable Sir is a chartered accountant qualified in 1996 and has devoted his career to pursuit of tax clarity, judicial discipline and professional excellence. Before joining the tribunal, he built a distinguished practice in Bengaluru for over 18 years, dealing with taxation and allied corporate laws, earning deep respect for his analytical approach and principled conduct. In 2015, he was elected as Accountant Member of the ITAC. Since then, his journey across benches, Visakhapatnam, Mumbai, Chennai and now Hyderabad from April 2024, reflects not just his experience but a consistent contributing to the strengthening tax jurisprudence across the country. With over 20 years as a practicing chartered accountant and more than a decade on the bench, Honorable Sir has authored over 8,000 orders, many of which have stood the test of higher judicial scrutiny and have been affirmed by Honorable High Courts. That itself speaks the depth of reasoning, blandness and fairness he brings on every matter. In this fifth moot tribunal competition, Honorable Sir present is not only an honor, it's an inspiration for every budding CA, advocate and tax professional here. This is a rare opportunity to to witness how knowledge becomes judgment and how judgments become guidance. Thank you, Honorable Manjunath sir, for graciously accepting our invitation and blessing this program with your esteemed presence. We are truly privileged.
May I request Honorable Accountant Member Sri Manjunatha G. Garu to kindly address the gathering.
Vice President, Vijay Pamra sir, Acting Mayor of Visit, my colleague and Judicial Member Ravi Sood, President of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association, Nirmala Chandrasekhar, and our officers, and the officiating members for today's Moot Tribunal, D. Manmohan sir and Ram Patel sir, friends and participants. First of all, I thank the management and the organizers for inviting me for this gathering. Sorry I joined 5-10 minutes late. So, Moot Tribunal competition. It is a good platform for young professionals like chartered accountants, advocates, to nurture the skills before they come into the official practice of tribunal. So it is a good occasion for them to use their talent and how to present their case before the tribunals and courts. So the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Tax Bar Association is regularly organizing Moot Tribunal competitions in the past 5 years. It is the 5th edition. So day by day, the competitors and participants are increasing. It is a welcome sight. So today also, I once again wish all the participants to present their case with a confidence, so that in the coming days you can fearlessly come and argue for it. With this, I thank the organizers for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request C.A. Lila Krishna Mohan to kindly introduce our guest of honor, Sri Ravi Sood ji.
It is my privilege to introduce Honorable Shri Ravi Sood ji, ITA Judicial Member. He has been in the field of direct taxes for over 24 years prior to his elevation as a judicial member of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. He was elevated as a judicial member of the ITAT in the year 2016. His first posting was at the Mumbai bench, where he discharged his judicial functions for a period of 6 years. Subsequently, he served at the Raipur bench of the ITAT for 3 years. Since March 2025, he has been serving as judicial member at the Hyderabad bench of the ITAT. He hails from a distinguished family of legal professionals. His father was a senior advocate specializing in tax matters. During his professional career span of 24 years, he regularly appeared before various judicial forums, including Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Honorable High Court of Punjab and Haryana, and the Honorable Supreme Court of India. With these brief introductory words, I respectfully introduce Honorable Shri Ravi Sood ji to this august gathering. Thank you.
May I now request Honorable Judicial Member Sri Ravi Sood ji to address the gathering.
Honorable Vice President Shri Vijay Pamra ji, my brother colleague Shri G. Manjunath ji, the senior members of the tribunal, Mr. V. Ramkotnaya ji, Mr. Manoj ji, the respected members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. First of all, I congratulate you for hosting this event, and again thanking you for inviting me to be a part of it. I've been asked to address this gathering, but I really feel I'm a very small person. How can I address such an elite gathering? But let me try. Moot court or a simulated court or a mock court, whatever you name, you can give it. Now, this is something very close to my heart, and I just take the liberty from the Honorable Vice President and you to say why it's so close to my heart. It takes my journey back to my college days when I was studying law. We used to hold this mock court, not mock court, this moot court and there used to be competitions. And I would be regularly a participant in this mock course. And for the consecutive 3 years, not a year was lost where I had not bagged an award, both on the team level and on the individual level. Okay, time passed by. I became a lawyer. I was on the other side. Now this time, for 2 consecutive terms as a secretary of the bar, I used to, along with my team, I used to hold mock tribunal, and then the seat changed. I became a spectator. A moot spectator. I wanted to be on the other side, but I became a spectator to this moot tribunal of this time. Then time passed. I was elevated as a member to the tribunal and said goodbye to my profession. When I was there, my first posting was in Mumbai, and in Mumbai again, moot tribunal was there, and Mr. Manoj sir would recollect. We used to hold those moot tribunals, and we used to sit as members and witness the arguments. And then, for 3 times, it was my luck that the WIRC invited me to hold the moot tribunal. They used to, I used to participate. So, this mock tribunal, moot tribunal, or a simulated court, it's something very, very close to my heart. Now, what I personally feel, it really boosts your confidence before you are being elevated, or even if before you are into the profession. All your apprehensions, all your fears, all your phobias as to what a tribunal is or what a court is, that can be dispelled. Because this is a platform for you to really rehearse how to appear before the tribunal. Because it's just try to realize somebody who is giving this file or brief to you is basically giving his life to you. So you need to look at this court dramatics and everything. You will learn it only once you are through with it. And I will just end here. I won't take much of your time. Once again, I congratulate you all for hosting this fifth moot court competition. I wish you all the best. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will now invite CA Pankaj Sancheti to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Vice President, ITAT Hyderabad Zone, Sri Vijaypal Rao, sir.
Good morning. It is my privilege and honor to welcome and introduce Honorable Sri Vijaypal Rao, sir, Vice President, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, Hyderabad, as the chief guest for this moot tribunal competition. Born in Mahendragarh, Haryana, and academically grounded in commerce and law, Sri Rao sir brings him within decades of rich experience in the field of law and justice. He began his distinguished career as an advocate, enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi in 1995, and went on to build an illustrious practice spanning civil, constitutional, service and arbitration laws. Over the years, he has represented the Union of India as senior standing counsel and appeared regularly before the Honorable Delhi High Court, Central Administrative Tribunal, and various appellate tribunals, earning recognition for his depth and legal insight and commitment to justice. Appointed as the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal in 2007 and currently serving as Vice President at Hyderabad, Sri Rao has contributed significantly to strengthening the tax legislation system in India. His journey from advocacy to judicial leadership stands as a powerful example of professional excellence, integrity, and dedication to the rule of law. His presence today is both inspiring and invaluable, especially for aspiring professionals, as he embodies the highest ideals of legal scholarships and judicial service. With this brief introduction, I request everyone to welcome Sri Rao with a warm applause.
May I now request Honorable Vice President, ITAT Hyderabad Zone, Sri Vijaypal Rao, sir, to kindly address the gathering.
My esteemed brothers, Sri Manju Naxi, then accountant member, Sri Ravi Sood, judicial member, wet nurse, Sri D. Manmohan, former Vice President, Sri V. Ramkotia, former member of ITAT, office bearers, and members of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana Bar Association, students of Chartered Accountancy and Law, and young professionals participating in this competition, ladies and gentlemen, good morning all of you. It is profound honor to stand before you on this occasion of 5th Moot Court Tribunal competition organized by Andhra Pradesh and Telangana Bar Association. I am taking this opportunity to congratulate the Bar Association and its members for their achievements of successful organization of Moot Court competition for last 5 years. I also welcome and wish all the participants of this Moot Court competition all success in this event as well as in their life. The subject matter of this competition, as we call it a Moot Tribunal competition, means that yes, you are going to discuss the direct tax, which is very complex and frequently changing subject. So, I admire your efforts to prepare and participate in this competition, and on particularly for this subject of direct taxation, because after practicing and even on sitting on the other side of dais in a, as an adjudicative authority, we also sometimes feel that yes, we still have to acquire some more knowledge to understand this subject. Even otherwise, the law is not just about the memorizing the statutes or citing the precedent. It is about crafting or presenting your case, persuasion that brings life to the matter to get the justice. In courtroom, one does not just argue the case, but as a professional, you have to be armed with logic, eloquence, unyielding conviction to pursue your case. I congratulate and salute all the participants in this competition who are going to discuss this subject and prepare for the anticipated counter arguments. Therefore, I believe that the participants have prepared their brief and replied and put forth the same with clear delivery, even under the pressing circumstances of the court environment. Practice of litigation in the courtroom environment is not as simple as discussing the matter or giving the advice in sitting in your office or chamber. Therefore, it is not barely in acquiring the knowledge, but this process of court litigation requires an art and expertise to apply the knowledge on the practical problem, and therefore in this process the role of wisdom is more than the theoretical knowledge on the subject. Being on news is not in your control, but as a professional doing the litigation practice, you have to be your best under the adverse and pressing situations. At this moment, I may say that it is well known that the reaction of an unpleasant situation or adverse situation is the all cause of worry and sufferings in our life. And the same thing applies, the same principle applies here in the profession also. So whenever you are doing your practice, and particularly in the courtroom, instead of reacting to the situation and the other opponent's argument. If you put forth your strong point in the best manner, that will be the most suited solution of the problem. So this, if you learn to control your conduct and act in a reactive manner, then it is a great success, not only in the life but in the professional pursuit. Therefore, the best legal practitioner is not someone who never politics, but who should prepare the brief and give his best with clarity, empathy, and integrity. There is no substitute for a hard work. And if you come to the court with full preparation, you have the advantage of a under preparation of your opponent. And this is how the luck plays in your practice or in your life. So luck is not having any independent role in anybody's life. It is only the chance that yes, how you are prepared in comparison to your opponent in this practice. So this is, one should not compromise with the work and hard work required for preparing a brief and not take a chance by coming to the court unprepared. So always come to the court with full preparation and having this in your mind that yes, you are going to, I go to the court, the hearing is going to take place. Thus your success in the courtroom many times do not depend on your performance, but it also depends on the relative performance of your opponent. The moot court competition bridges the gap between theory and practice. Therefore, your preparation for the moot court is altogether different from preparation for an examination. The moot court competition facilitates and guides the students and young professionals to learn the court crafting discipline, sharpen their advocacy skill and presenting their arguments persuasively. This is the key for success in any legal profession, whether litigation or negotiation. It comes first-hand experience of applying your knowledge to the practical problem in the court and presenting your case in front of the judges, which is a process of building confidence and acquiring, due to the long experience and wisdom and skill, which is the key of this profession in long run. It is also requires the students and young professionals to work in the team and utilize the benefit of collective efforts and teamwork skills. Apart from the legal work, the professionals also learn to inculcate ethics in the practice and decision making, as well as respect for law before we make the law respectable. So, with all these words, I will not stand more between you and the final event for which you are eagerly waiting. Once again, I wish all the participants a great learning experience and successful presentation, and made the best argument today. I also thank to the judges and organizations for nurturing the spirit of professional excellence and robust legal fraternity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable suggestions. It It is now the honor of our organization to honor our chief guest, Sri Vijaypal Rao sir, and guest of honor, Sri Ravi Sood sir and Manjunatha sir. I request President and office bearers to kindly do the blessing prayer.
Sri Ravi Sood garu and members of Telangana and AP Tax Bar Association, participants, sponsors and guests. On behalf of the association, thank you all for making the inaugural ceremony of our 5th Moot Tribunal competition at Birla Planetarium, Bhaskar Auditorium a success. We are deeply grateful to our chief guest for your inspiring keynote and to the guests of honor for your valuable insights on tax law. Special thanks to organizing committee, Sri C.A. Chandrasekhar Vemala, Sri Ashish Joshi, Sri C.A. Amrit Kumar Koda, C.A. Ramdev Putra, C.A. Someshwar Nimani, C.A. Pankaj Sancheti, C.A. Leela Krishna Mohan, and C.A. Pravalika for your tireless efforts. We appreciate our trophy sponsors, C.A. Murli Mohan P. Garu and C.A. Amrit Kumar Koda Silver and Integrated Clean Technology for bronze. To participants and delegates, thank you for your enthusiasm. Let us carry the inspiration forward. Jai Hind.
The inaugural session stands adjourned. The session will now be reconvened for the moot tribunal proceedings. Participants are requested to take their positions. Before that, I request everyone for national anthem. Please stand up for the national
and Pravalika to be on the dais. Personal interest will be there. So I request Julie, Shashank Dandu and Kaprasad to occupy the Julie seats. That's it, that's it.
He's also prepared. And people sitting back, I can request them to come a little forward and set their seats empty at the forward, so you'll be having a better feel and hearing of the proceedings.
Teams can sit together with their team members, and also call this is also published. You know the sequence, so accordingly you please be available when the case is called for. See that you are immediately coming to the podium and starting your arguments. And please call if your team member is not available right now. Please inform them to be in the room.
Commissioner of Income Tax and working across different wings of the department, assessments, investigation, administration, appellate authority, and finally, and also department representative before ITAC. He was selected as the accountant member and posted in ITAC Mumbai in February 2008, and after serving about 5 years in Mumbai, he got transferred to Hyderabad in September 2013. He retired in August 2018 after serving for 5 years in Hyderabad. He is now a practicing tax consultant and enrolled as an advocate. I would also like to introduce Sri Manmohan Dandu, sir. He has done his LLB from M.Com from Andhra University, and he's done his LLM from Mumbai University, and from 1981 to 1995 he practiced as a tax advocate before the Tribunal and High Court of the combined state of Andhra Pradesh, before being elevated as judicial member Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. He was the past president of the AP Tax Bar Association too. During his tenure as judicial officer, he was in Hyderabad, Kolkata, Visakhapatnam and Mumbai. After 23 years of service, he superannuated as senior vice president of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Post-retirement, he is practicing as a tax counsel before the Telangana High Court and High Court of Andhra Pradesh. I am sure we will all benefit from the rich experience of the members, and hope everyone is prepared. So let's start the proceeding. Once again, requesting people sitting in the back and come forward, because the time is crucial here. We have to finish on time, so teams also be ready. Let us not take too much time in the changing of between the cases too.
So from the chief chief guest of honors, you might have listened. What is the protocol to be maintained? You should have confidence in your submissions, with clarity and sequence. Everything matters. Jury will observe, bench members will observe, and the committee members also observe to give marks to find everything. So I wish you all the very best and good luck. Thank you.
So now, when the bench members are coming, everybody has to raise from the seat. And then once they sit, then only you can sit on your seat. So, silence, please.
May it please your lordships, I appear on behalf of the appellant in the present matter. With the kind permission of this honourable tribunal, I shall briefly place the relevant facts on record. Appellant is the individual under the Income Tax Act. Appellant is the owner of the vacant plot of land which was acquired in FY 2008-9, which is a long-term capital asset.
Give it to Leela.
In the FY 21-22, appellant agreed to sell the plot. However, due to financial constraints of the purchaser, the sale was executed by two sale deeds. That is, 60% of the undivided share of land was sold on 30th September 2021. Remaining 40% of the undivided share of plot was sold on 15th September 2022. Your lordships, with the intention of availing exemption under Section 54F, the appellant invested the sale consideration from both the transfers in one residential house property in Hyderabad. The investments were made within prescribed time limits of Section 54F. Appellant did not own more than one residential house apart from the new asset on the dates of transfer. Appellant then claimed proportionate exemption under Section 54F in AY 22-23 for the first tranche, that is on 60% of the undivided share of plot, and the assessing officer allowed the exemption. However, in assessment year 23-24,
Thank you, Your Honor. But ground-wise, the preliminary submissions remains true what learned AR has mentioned. The SSC has so subdivided the land into two parts. 60% was sold in AY 22-23 and 40% in AY 23-24. So the parallels rebuttal is the disallowance of section 54F exemption. The statute says the new asset once purchased is exhausted when an exemption is claimed. The strict interpretation comes from the Supreme Court ruling in the judgment, the Commissioner of Customs versus Dilip Kumar and Co., where the Supreme Court clearly mentions the statute should be strictly construed, and if there is any ambiguity, the benefit must go to the revenue. And if any exemption provision, the benefit of ambiguity cannot be claimed by the SSC. The appellant relies on section 54 being a beneficial provision. Yes.
When you read out from the judgment as to where it said that the benefit has to go to the revenue whenever there is ambiguity.
Yeah, it is in the Supreme Court judgment. It is in my paper book, page number 10. The Supreme Court definitively ruled that an exemption or notification provision must be interpreted strictly.
That I should be understanding.
Yes.
After that you said that whenever there is ambiguity it has to be.
Yeah, the court held that if there is any ambiguity in an exemption provision, the benefit of the ambiguity cannot be claimed by the SSC and must be interpreted in favor of the revenue. This was in Commissioner of Customs Import, Mumbai versus Dilip Kumar and Company and others, year 2018. It's a 5-judge constitution bench. And the ground number 3, the beneficial provision argument, the learned AR presented that the legislative intent is aimed to promote the housing, which itself says that whenever there is a subdivision of the land, 2 sale deeds are prepared, the intent is the SSC should buy 2 properties to claim the exemption in total. In the current case, where the 2 sale deeds were prepaid, but only 1 residential house has been purchased, so the exemptions will be arrested at 1 residential house. In the ground number 3, intent of penalty, I think the learned AR is
I have withdrawn that.
withdrawn the ground, the specific ground. Anyway, we just penalizing the SSC. In the general ground, this requires a specific adjudication at this stage. The respondents reserve the right to offer further rebuttal if the appellant introduce new grounds during the hearing.
The intent ground is section 54F is applicable when on the same property there is invested twice. There is only one residential house.
Yes.
That's the limited issue, and they have quoted 3 judgments.
Yes.
And 1 tribal judgment. What is here? Or do you have any cases in your support?
Yeah, in a similar case, the Aniruddha Rakhi Gandhi versus DCIT, which the learned AR has quoted, the facts of the case is that there is only 1 sale deed which is registered on 2nd December 2014. So this is my point of argument that whenever there is only 1 sale deed, the payment can be received in installment. So in the Aniruddha Gandhi case, the payment has been received in installment, and the fact is there is only 1 sale deed, so the judgment went in favor of the SSC. But in the current Ms. Anjali case, there are 2 sale deeds, so which beat the legislative intent, and we assume that the SSC has into an adventurous thing by executing 2 sale deeds and want to get maximum benefit. So it's purely a business transaction, and the asset involved is a stock in trade. And let us discuss on the strict interpretation of the
stock in trade.
Yes.
How they allow in the first instance?
First instance, the facts were not in front of the department that the second land was subdivided and the second
First land was sold.
Yes.
They were observed again either under section 263 or otherwise. Department
assessment is countering the second day exemption now. Once this is closed, we will go to the first.
Even here also, they are only denied exemption.
Yes.
It's not that they are treating it as not as capital but as business income.
Yes.
Is that case?
No, it's the facts were limited in the case.
It's treated as business income.
Yes.
You cannot report a new case now.
Yes. Yes. I agree. So, come to the statutory provisions of section 54F, the exhaustion of new asset argument. The statute contemplates a transactional nexus between one transfer event and the creation or acquisition of one new asset. So, once the assessee declared a residential house as a new asset in AY 22-23, again the assessee cannot claim the proportionate exemption of the same asset in the subsequent years, as the asset legal character is crystallized and existing acquired asset for tax purposes. The cost of improvement versus purchase or construction. The sections 54F strictly restrict the eligible investment to the purchase and construction. So the purchase has been made in the previous year, this assessment year 22-23, so it is crystallized the asset, and the further investments in the same asset can be construed as cost of improvement or any new development to the existing property. So it lost its sanctity as a new asset, which was crystallized in the previous year. The second tranche of exemption, or when the sale
Also is not complained. That is total investment can be 1 year and can be 2 years.
it's already crystallized as a new asset in the assessment year 22-23. The investment what is made in an exemption claim with reference to investment in 23-24, we are considering it as a cost of improvement.
You are also
Which
relying
is-
on the judgment when the Kumar change.
Yes.
It against you.
Yeah, we are just putting the facts there. The second case law which we are presenting. So with this my submissions, I request your honors to dismiss the appeal in favor of the department.
Your Lordships, I would like to make my rebuttal. Coming to the first rebuttal, wherein you have stated that strict interpretation of exemption is to be required and you have relied upon a case, Commissioner of Customs versus Dilip Kumar. Firstly, this is a customs case. This is irrelevant to the facts of the case. Second, this case is not at all applicable to the present facts of the instant case. The judgment talks about if there is any ambiguity in the exemption notification. In the present case, we have not quoted or relied upon any notification. Henceforth, this case law is irrelevant. Second, coming to the part that this cannot, the second transaction where we have one, pardon, yes, status of the new asset is exhausted. I would like to mention here that in the very facts of the case, it has been mentioned that due to financial constraints of the purchaser, the sale was executed by two sale deeds. And two sale deeds as in 60% of the undivided share of plot was sold on 30th September 2021. Underlining the word undivided, it means in sale deed, boundaries should be earmarked. When sale is on undivided share of plot of land, now the plot is only undivided, then boundaries are still not marked, which means buyer will get title only when entire 100% of the plot is transferred. This proves that although two sale deeds were executed, the transaction should be treated as one only.
If that be the case, in the first year, how did you claim exemption when there is no sale at all? If the boundaries are not demarcated and you can't even sell it, there is no transfer in the first instance.
Section 54 for the capital gains intention is to tax or clear off.
That's right, but you have offered capital gains to tax to the LD area. It was accepted. And your volition, according to you, there is a transfer. Unless the boundaries are earmarked, you can't even register the document.
Lordships, I would like to make a mention here that only because purchaser wanted, because of his financial constraint, he executed two sale deeds. And we appellant did not know when the buyer will pay the second tranche. So, and the intention of the appellant was to purchase one new residential house
into agreement for sale and collected that 60% as an advance. You could have waited for this next assessment year. You could have executed single sale.
We can change the tax now.
Yeah.
The tax will pay you also.
Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Really was translation was from other participants also. It should be brief and short, and there should not be any repetition in whatever you are stating. You are repeating the same thing at least 10 times. About section 54 and about the sale of the pastoral property. We have understood, and the issue is limited. And you have to specify that there is so many grounds, you are not pressing the other grounds. You have to begin with that you are not pressing the other grounds. Only one ground that remains to argue, and on that, section 54 takes the prime seat. So you have to first take us to section 54 and explain as to what is section 54F and how, according to you, it enables you to invest in the same property again to claim exemption. That's all. That is the only limited point.
Apologies, Your Lordship.
Anyway, okay, thank you.
Nexus Manufacturing Private Limited. Your Honor, facts of the case are the assessee company, Nexus Manufacturing Private Limited, is an Indian resident company and it has made a payment for purchase of shrink-wrapped computer software to a Singapore-based company, which is Code, for an overall consideration of 2.5 crore for five equal installments for over 5 years, starting from the financial year 2015. And that can be also evidenced that can also be evidenced with the end user license agreement. Your Honors, the Code Private Limited, which is a Singapore entity, also has a license office which is based out of Mumbai in India. It also primarily engages in preparatory and auxiliary services. Your Honors, the assessee company Nexus has not deducted TDS, relying on the India-Singapore DTAA, and also has not obtained tax residence certificate and TNF at the time of making the payment. So, Your Honors, what happened in this case is that the assessee was subjected to 143(3) scrutiny assessments, and the learned assessing officer has completed to the satisfaction of the documents that were provided by the assessee to the learned assessing officer on 23rd of September 2015. However, subsequently in the assessment year 2017-18, the department has reopened the case under section 148 on 4th July 2019. During the reassessment proceedings, the learned assessing officer, without providing the reasons to believe to assessee, has formed an opinion that the income has escaped assessment, stating that the transaction of payment of royalty for purchase of software amounted to royalty under section 9 of the Act, and hence Nexus was under statutory obligations to withhold tax under 195 section, and the said expense of 50 lakhs pertaining to the assessment year 13-14 under section 40AI of the Act was disallowed. So, agreed by the reassessment order, Nexus has preferred appeal before the learned CIT appeals. During the appellant proceedings, Nexus has provided the additional evidence of TRC and Form 10F, which were not admitted by the learned CIT appeals. Your Honours, these are the facts, and in accordance with the grounds of appeal, I would be covering 4 core issues in my submissions. Issue number 1, whether reopening of the assessment under section 148 is valid in law. Issue number 2, whether payment for purchase of software by a resident to a non-resident constitute to royalty. Issue number 3, whether withholding of taxes under section 195 and disallowance under section 40IA of the Act holds good even when the transaction is not taxable in first place. Issue number 4, whether CIT appeals has erred in not admitting the additional evidence. So, Your Honours, I would like to address first on grounds of merits. Ground number 3 and 4, for purchase of software by a resident to a non-resident strictly for internal use, whether that would constitute to royalty. Your Honours, once a DTAA applies, subsection 2 of Section 90 says income tax provisions apply only and only when it is more beneficial to the assessee and not otherwise. Further, it is provided from the explanation 4 of Section 90 that it is clarified that the term defined, it is clarified that if any term determined in DTAA exists, then we'll have to go only by DTAA, only in the absence of not defining a term in DTAA, provisions of Act has to be looked into. So, Your Honours, here primarily what matters is that whether the transaction is falling within the purview of royalty under sub-article 3 of Article 12 of the DTAA between India and Singapore. So, Your Honours, I would like to read through the definition of royalty as per DTAA vis-a-vis Income Tax Act. So, the definition is defined under sub-article 3 of Article 12 of India-Singapore DTAA. Your Honours, I would like to emphasize here in this definition that it is exhaustive in nature. The terms used are means to describe the definition of royalty. So, I would like to simplify the definition of royalty into 3 parts. Only upon satisfaction of all the 3 parts, it is said to be a royalty. Part 1, payment made for a consideration. Part 2, with regard to transfer of use or right to use. Part 3, with respect to a copyright. Your Honours, to this extent, there is no difference between the position taken under DTAA and the position taken as per Act. As per Act, explanation 2 of clause 6 of subsection 1 of section 9 of the Act also says the same. They're both on the same lines. It could be that it is little wider, but they're both on essence on the same line. So, Your Honours, given the facts of the case, the payment made for purchase of software is not in the nature of royalty as it does not satisfy the condition of copyright. Your Honours, I would like to give a small example with regard to copyright. A purchaser of a book or a CD basically becomes the owner of the article, and he does not become the owner of the copyright essence in that article. So the actual ownership, the actual copyright essence lies with the actual owner of the article. To establish the same in our case, Your Honours, I would like to draw your attention to page number 134 of the end user license agreement entered between Nexus and Code. On para D, it clearly states that Nexus desires to obtain a non-exclusive, non-transferable license to use the software for its internal business purposes only, with no right to sublease, lease, make copies, etc. Establishing that the purchase of Neon software is strictly for internal use, amounting to purchase of good and not a copyright. In support of the same, I would like to bring to your notice, Your Honour, Case Law Engineering Analysis versus CIT held before Supreme Court on page number 21 of my paper book. On para 4, under the judgment heading, Your Honour, the said case law covers 4 categories, Your Honours. Under the para 4, facts of our case are squarely covered up in category 1, which reads as follows. The first category deals with cases in which computer software is purchased directly by an end user who is resident in India from a foreign non-resident supplier or a manufacturer. In the same case law, Supreme Court with regard to copyright has summarized on page number 27, para 117 as clause 1, copyright is an exclusive right which is negative in nature, being the right to restrict others from doing certain acts. Also, it says that right to reproduce and the right to use a computer software are distinct and separate rights. So, Your Honours, I would like to bring to your notice the conclusion that is drawn by the Supreme Court in the said case law, in the same case law, on page number 19 of my paper book, under the heading conclusion. Given the definition of royalties contained in the Article 12 of DTAA between India and Singapore, it is clear that there is no obligation on the persons mentioned under Section 195 of the Act to deduct TDS as an end user, which would amount to the use of or right to use of any copyright. The provisions contained in Income Tax Act, Section 916, along with the explanations 2 and 4 thereof, which deal with royalty, not being more beneficial to the assessee, have no application in the facts of the case. So, Your Honours, drawing reference from the conclusion that is given by the Supreme Court, I would request you that the disallowance under Section 40IA of the Act made by the assessing officer has to be quashed. My co-counsellor will continue the other grounds.
Your Honours, the next issue is non-admission of additional evidence, that is TRC and Form 10F by learned CIT appeals, and thereby disentitling the assessee from claiming the DTAA benefit under Section 90 of the Act. Your Honours, Section 90 subsection 2 provides a substantive right to the assessee to apply the DTAA benefit, DTAA provisions when they are more beneficial to the assessee than the Act. And further, and so to claim that right, Section 90 subsection 4 and Section 90 subsection 5 requires the assessee to furnish the TRC. And its Rule 21AB requires the assessee to furnish Form 10F. However, none of these subsections and rules provide any statutory limit for filing the Form 10F or TRC. These forms are a mere verification of information provided, and these documents doesn't disentitle the assessee from claiming the DTAA benefit, because the right to claim the DTAA benefit comes from the Act itself, comes from DTAA read with Section 90 subsection 2 of the Act. Accordingly, we pray that to admit the we request Honorable Tribunal to provide a fair opportunity to
My lordship, so I proceed for.
Is it just a mic? Is it just a mic?
Yeah. So we'll proceed for counter the ground raised by Lani AR, my lordship. So the main question of question or ground or object which has been raised by Land AR is about application of DTAA, Your Honours, as per Section 90 of the Income Tax Act. So they have continued with point like subsection 1 and subsection 2 and 3. So I would like to place a small note of subsection 4, Your Honour. Shall I proceed? Yeah. An assessee not being a resident to whom an agreement referred to in subsection 1 applies shall not be entitled to claim any relief under such an agreement unless a certificate of being his resident in any country outside India or specified territory outside India, as the case may be, is obtained by him from the respective government authority. Your Honours, we would like to emphasize that any assessee being a non-resident to India, he will not be eligible to claim any benefit, or he shall not be allowed any benefits under any DTAA treaties without obtaining required documents as specified in the law. So here, Act has clearly mentioned that any before claiming any benefit, they should provide us TRC certificate, tax resident certificate, as well as Form 10F, along with the no PE declaration. Your Honours, as mentioned by our Land AR, I would like to emphasize the case law of Supreme Apex Court in case of engineering analysis of excellence. Your Honour, please refer our case law paper to page number 92, para 168, Your Honour. Yeah. So, Your Honour, in the given conclusion, para 168, shall I proceed, Your Honour? Yes. Given the definition of royalties contained in Article 12A of DTAA, as mentioned, in paragraph 41 of the judgment is clear that there is no obligation on the persons mentioned in 195 of the Income Tax Act to deduct the tax at source, as the distribution agreements or ULAs in the facts of these cases do not create any interest or right in such distributors or individuals which would amount to use of right to use any copyright. The provisions contained in Income Tax Act as per section 916 along with explanations 2 and 4 thereof, which deal with royalty not being more beneficial, Your Honor. Here we would like to emphasize and draw your attention of not being more beneficial to assessee. Here, in the particular case of this Excellency, Your Honor, there were no dispute of TRC, non-submission of Form 10F were discussed, Your Honor. There they clearly mentioned what are covered under royalty as per DTA. Here we would like to mention, refer to the facts of the case, Your Honor. In the assessment proceedings and in the reassessment proceedings, where ample opportunity has been provided to the assessee, despite of that, he was failed to submit TRC and Form 10F before the jurisdictional assessing officers, Your Honor. As mentioned in the Act itself, where certificate of tax residency certificate was not obtained by the Indian company Nexus and passed the benefit of non-deduction of the TDS in India by them, to that is void and null. So,
certificate will come only when there is a liability for TDS.
yes, Your Honor, we are going to.
This transaction is a liability for
We are going to be, yes. So, to continue Your Honor's point, so we would like to go to the additional paper which we have given, Your Honor, like income deemed to accrue arise in India as per section 9. So we have highlighted there, Your Honor. As per subsection 6, explanation 4, Your Honor, which is still in existence in the 2025 Act also. Explanation 4, for the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that transfer of all or any rights in respect of any right, property or information includes and has always included transfer of any right for use of or right to use a computer software, including grant of license irrespective of the medium through which such right is transferred. And in the actually, Your Honor, in the written submission, cross objections, Your Honor, we have placed our point memorandum to the Finance Act, where they clearly mentioned that in order to restrict or avoid the incorrect claimants of DTA benefits, the intention of the legislature was that, Your Honor. So, despite of all the possible points to put on eligible assessee for claiming the benefits of DTA, these were not submitted during the assessment and reassessment proceedings, Your Honor. So further to your, we would like to continue our cross objections to the grounds, Your Honor. And with regard to reopening of the assessment, Your Honor, that Lund AR has mentioned that it is change of opinion. So, in the original assessment conducted by AO, we emphasize that appellant failed to disclose fully and truly all material facts which constitute TRC as well as Form 10F, Your Honor. Your Honor, it is stated that in the doctrine of change of opinion applies only when an original issue was already formed and issue was specifically examined and the material is sought to be re-examined, Your Honor. The Apex Court, in the case of Kelvinators, Your Honor, Apex Court has decided that no review should be done in case of any assessee by abusing the powers or by abusing the assessee. But reassessment can be done, Your Honor. Reassessment can be done when there was no express or explicit opinion was already formed, original assessment was completed on incorrect or non-submission of the material facts, and subsequent information revealed that income had escaped, Your Honor. In the sorry,
what about the period for reopening?
Yes, Your Honor. With regard to period where regular assessment has already completed and the 4 years has elapsed, Your Honor, but the contention is that the material fact they provided their proviso to the 147, Your Honor, that in case where material facts were not fully disclosed, in that case we can go beyond the 4 years. So we would like to take that contention. To continue further, so it will not to review, that particular reassessment will not lead to review, rather it will be reassessment only. So therefore, the allegation of mere change of opinion is unsustainable and ground two should be dismissed. So to continue further, disallowance, Your Honor, disallowance on non-deduction of TDS under section 195 and the disallowance under section 40A1. So 185 has also specifically mentioned where any other sums has been paid to a non-resident in India or outside India, it is subjected for TDS as per the rate and cost. So 916 explanation 4 also we have clearly mentioned that it is comes under the royalty only. So it is obligated by the nexus that it should deduct the TDS. And with regard to ground number 6, like where additional acceptance of additional evidence produced in before of the CAT, Your Honor. So we have produced a form 46A of the extract of the income tax act, Your Honor, where it was clearly mentioned before the CAT that CAT should adopt or accept the additional evidence which were not produced before the jurisdictional assessing officer if they were if the following conditions are satisfied, where it was mentioned that assessing was prevented by sufficient cause, or assessee has already submitted but AO refused to admit the facts or admit the information. In that particular case, additional evidence can be entertained or admitted by the land CAT. But the thing is, in the particular case, there was
surplus for what's the CFO?
I can just Rule 46. Sorry. We have given the rule copy on the yeah. Where or assessing officer has made the order without providing sufficient opportunity to the yes, sir.
On their own relation,
it can adopt that will be celebrity. So to just wrap up and to give a summary of this thing, Your Honor, we would like to mention that we would like to mention that the reassessment proceedings are based on a tangible material evidence which have live access to the income escapement, Your Honor, and it will not lead to change of opinion. It only leads to reassessment and not the review. And the second point, Your Honor, we would like to mention that as per provided in the section 90 subsection 4, it is clear, it is evident that PRC and Form 10F is a mandatory document. At the time of payment, it should be held by the assessee. And the third point, as per provisions of section 9, payment for computer software leads to amount of royalty and which is subjected to TDS under section 190, 195 and which will subsequently lead to disallowance under 40A1. And the additional evidence may be adopted by Lund CITA if there is proper
Under section 147, grants a jurisdiction to AO to reopen the assessment. Only two conditions are met. One is that the AO must have a reasons to believe that the income has escaped, and that reason must the income must have escaped because the assessee had failed to disclose any material facts during the assessment. But here, Your Honours, we have not the assessee has not escaped or willfully omit or conceal any facts. We have provided all the documents, and all the documents were the record of assessment, and the order was passed. Now, further, the AO's reason for AO's so-called reason for belief is a fresh application of mind on the same facts that have been provided during the assessment order, which is a clear case of change of opinion. And we'd like to place our reliance on honorable judgment in Mangalam Publications, and then and as mentioned, the time limit as 4 years has been lapsed, which is a clear case of time bar, and the assessee cannot reopen the assessment order. The department also objected that they have a material evidence in their possession, but I'd like to tell that there is no material evidence that has been there in their possession. It was just the same facts that were already there in the assessment order.
Your Honor, that non-submission of Form 10F is a mere procedural lapse for which the assessee cannot be punished by not giving the benefit of DTAA. And once the DTAA applies, clause 12.3 of the DTAA applies, and my submissions on it is already provided. So our prayer is that please. Please consider that this is not a royalty, and hence provisions of 195 would not apply, and disallowance under 40IA of the Act would not hold good.
What about the case referred to by the page 92?
Your Honors, the Kelvinator case is clearly mentioning, please refer page number 119 of the paper book, where it is mentioned that hence after 1/4/1989, the assessing officer has a power to reopen, provided that the tangible material has come to the conclusion that there is an escapement of income from the assessment. The Parliament we didn't get the paper book, Your Honors.
He gave it to us.
And later on, the Parliament deleted the words of opinion on the ground that it would vest an arbitrary powers in the assessing officer.
Thank you.
For the SSC Zenith Agrotech Biosciences Limited. The SSC is engaged in research and development for creation of superior genetic traits in crops. The issue involved here is that the AO passed an order under section 143(3) denying agricultural income exemption claimed under section 10(1) and also disallowing under section 14A read with rule 8D. The same was upheld by CIT appeals. We are therefore here before the Honorable Bench of IT-80 to represent our case for the SSC Zenith Agrotech. The facts of the case is, the SSC enters into seed production agreements with individual farmers. Zenith then supplies parent seeds to farmers and also provides specialized production supervisors who monitor fields, provide technical guidance on basic agricultural operations to ensure genetic purity. The farmers are then compensated based on quantity or weight of wet ears produced. Zenith then provides high-tech processing facilities like drying, shelling, chemical treatment and packaging before selling them as hybrid seeds in the market. I would like to draw the kind attention to the fact that the SSC is adding value to the wet ears and making them fit to be sold into the market before actually selling them as hybrid seeds in the market. Also, the SSC earned dividend income from mutual funds, which is exempt under the Income Tax Act. The SSC, considering the same, CO moto made a disallowance of rupees 12.8 lakhs under section 14A. Such disallowance was made calculatively by gauging that its Treasury Department spends minimal time managing these investments as they are mostly automated, requiring minimal intervention of human resources. I would now like to point out the reasons for which such disallowances were made under order under section 143(3) and CIT appeals order. The first reason for disallowing the agricultural income was that there was lack of ownership and possession, and because of the nature of operations. Your Honor, as I get your kind attention to the definition of agricultural income as given under section 2, subsection 1A, there is nowhere a prerequisite stated in the Income Tax Act that such income derived from the agricultural land should be in the name of the SSC. Ownership is nowhere a prerequisite as stated under section 2, subsection 1A of the Income Tax Act defining agricultural income. In the case of
CIT Appeals versus Messrs. Nawazuddin Seeds Limited, Hyderabad, page 27 of our paper book, para 30. After considering the case of CIT versus Raja Benoy Kumar, the Supreme Court ruling in favor of the SSC, it was held that, para 30, I repeat, the parent seeds are produced by way of agriculture and cultivation. As the company gets the cultivation done under its supervision and at its own cost and risk, the production of these seeds and the farmer, wherein under the supervision, technical guidance and control of the company is in agreement for the production of the hybrid seeds. Since they have direct nexus with the land owned by it, or on the leased lands by supplying seeds to the farmers and getting them cultivated under its supervision and control, and the company plays an active role of action of monitoring and nurturing the plants by the SSC cultivated by the farmers. As there is an element of involvement of SSC by entering into an agreement with the farmers for utilizing the land owned by them, and from such agreements, the SSC company is being utilizing the production of hybrid seeds on mass scale from the foundation seeds on payment of certain compensation. Though the SSC may not be directly involved in the activity of cultivation, but it is being involved through farmers for production of hybrid yielding seeds for different types of hybridization and which are used for the purpose of agriculture for deriving high yielding seeds. Therefore, this bench is of the opinion that though the SSC is not directly involved into the agricultural activity, but indirectly they are involved in the said activity. Therefore, as seen, both in the case of Raja Benoy, where the Supreme Court ruling was in the favor of the SSC, and also in the case of Nawazuddin Seeds, the High Court was in the favor of the SSC, wherein the land, though not possessed by the company, the agricultural exemptions were still granted. Now the third point for disallowing the same, as given in the 143 order and also upheld by the CIT appeals, was manufacturing versus agriculture and contract clause interpretation. For this, I would like to present that seed is a product of agricultural activity and the seed cannot be sold commercially unless it is produced by agricultural activity. The seed so produced by non-agricultural activity will again have to be sown in the agricultural fields to have a larger quantity for sale in the market. I would now like to draw your attention to page 3 of our paper book in the case of Prabhat Agri Biotech Limited, wherein the AP High Court held that in the last para, Your Honor, we are unable to accept the far-fetched idea that artificial production of seeds can be sold or used for commercial purpose. Maybe a few hybrid seeds could be produced by artificial method in laboratory. The seeds so produced with non-agricultural activity again will have to be sown in the agricultural fields to have a larger quantity for sale in the market. Accordingly, we hold that the seed is a product of the agricultural activity. I repeat, accordingly we hold that the seed is a product of agricultural activity. Therefore, the sale of the same cannot be bought under the provision of the Income Tax Act. We therefore upheld the decision of the learned tribunal in this matter. Your Honor, now that I have submitted my submissions for agricultural income exemption, I would now like to move on to the other issue, which is 14A disallowance. The AO generally, I repeat, generally, assume that such investment decisions are generally taken in the board meetings, and hence Rule 8D2 subclause 2 was applied. The CIT appeals upheld the same, claiming SSC's calculation to be suo motu and ad hoc, and that the SSC failed to account for strategic time spent by Board of Directors on investment decisions. The learned AO failed to understand that there was minimal human intervention, that such schemes are generally automated, wherein the returns are also automatically reinvested. The AO conveniently disallowed 25% of the treasury cost without scrutinizing the books of accounts and without providing proper justification for rejecting the SSC's calculation. I would now like to draw your attention to page 124 of our paper book of PCIT versus Messrs Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India. Para 15.
Please, page
124. Para 15, the last 7th line, Your Honor. No congent reasons, much less supported by data extracted from accounts of the SSC, were advanced by the AO to explain why the case set up by the SSC was not believable. Even the qualification of the disallowance was carried out under Rule 8D, subclause 3 of the rules without scrutinizing the books of accounts of the respondent and by jumping over the mandate first proceeds under section 14A of the Act. Next para. Such conjectural decision of the AO, that too to the prejudice of the SSC, cannot be sustained. Therefore, we are unable to find any infirmity in the impunged order of the learned tribunal, and the same is upheld, answering the question of law framed above against the appellant of revenue and in favour of the respondent and SSC. I would also like to draw your kind attention to page 144 of our paper book. Page 144 of our paper book. Para 20. In the case of Taikisha Engineering India Limited. Page 144 of our paper book. Para 20. In the case of Taikisha Engineering India Limited. However, wherein it was held that in the present case, we need not refer to sub-rule 2 to rule 8D of the rules as condition mentioned in subsection 2 to section 14A of the Act, read with sub-rule 1 to rule 8D of the rules, were not satisfied.
Was there any disallowance by you?
Yes, Your Honor. I had suo motu disallowed 25% of my treasury cost, as my SSC assumed that to be the cost related to the exempt income earned.
That's why this case occurs. If not there, then
Your Honor, I respectfully submit that the exemption claimed by the appellant in regards to the agricultural income is not liable to be exempted under section 10. Your Honor, highlighting the facts of the issue, the appellant operates on a seed model. I submit, Your Honor, that the appellant operates on a seed production model wherein the appellant develops seeds in his laboratory and thereby supplies to farmers based in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. It is pertinent here to note that, Your Honor, which the seeds that are developed in the laboratory are merely supplied for cultivation as well as the post-cultivation process to the farmers. It is submitted, Your Honor, that the appellant herein is not involved in any agricultural process which is eminent to qualify any income arising from there to qualify as an agricultural income. Your Honor, in support of my submission, I intend to place reliance on the judgment of the Honorable Income Tax Appellate Tribunal Bench of Pune in the case of the Assistant CIT Circle Aurangabad versus RG Biotech Limited. Now, Your Honor, this dispute, I intend to invite the attention of the Honorable Bench to page 7 of the written submissions. Your Honor, this dispute squarely covers the facts as well as squarely addresses the issues that have been brought in the current appeal. Your Honor, I invite the attention of the Honorable Bench to page 7 of the written submission, wherein, Your Honor, the question of holding the seed, the question that was taken into consideration by the Honorable Bench was whether holding the seed production activity as exempt under section 10(1) of the Income Tax Act is correct. Now, Your Honor, shedding light on the facts, the Honorable Bench, I invite the attention of the Honorable Bench to page 8, wherein it was observed that the SSC company, like the appellant, was also involved in the production and marketing of hybrid seeds, and who in turn also supplied these seeds to farmers based in the states of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Likewise, Your Honor, even they provide supervision advice, and they were not involved in any investment or perhaps any activity that would amount to agriculture. That is, they were not involved in any activity like weeding, harvesting, or the other subsequent activities, Your Lordship. Now, addressing the issue, the Honorable Bench first addressed the agreement between the appellant as well as the respondent. I invite the attention of the Honorable Bench to page number 15 of the written submission. Your Honor, analyzing the agreement, it was observed that yes, these seeds have been developed in the laboratory, thereby supplied to the farmers for agriculture. Now, Your Honor, it was taken note of that none of these activities have been performed by the appellant. I invite the attention of the Honorable Bench to page 18 of the written submission, Your Honor. It was observed that on a careful reading of the above provision, that the income from the land by the performance of agriculture can be termed as agricultural income only if the hands of the owner, landlord, farmer, or perhaps persons having derivative interest in such land. Your Honor, the subsequent paragraph 23, it was held, the Honorable Bench took a different view of the judgment that has been relied upon by the appellant. That is of the Supreme Court of the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Raja Binoy Kumar Swaj versus the West Bengal, the Commissioner of West Bengal. Your Honor, the Supreme
Both of you are relying upon the same judgment.
Yes, Your Honor.
What is the import of the Supreme Court judgment?
Your Honor,
how do you on facts show that that's not applicable to you?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
How on facts you state that case is not applicable to you?
Your Honor, this I submit that is also equally applicable to the department here, because Your Honor, not just that, the Honorable Supreme Court observed that agriculture per se is a two-fold.
He was there at 12 o'clock working hall of day. Okasari anki appreciation request bagundi. Thank you, artist. So can you appreciate more than the Thank you, Raju, Bhadraj and Shankar. Thank you very much. Go to Secretary.
I think President Sir has covered everything. Now we move on to most awaited segment of the day, the prize distribution ceremony. Before that, I would like to, it is our honor to felicitate our bench members, Mr. Sri Ram Manmohan Sir and Ram Kotiya Sir. Our sponsors, P. Murali Sir, Amrit Sir and Integrated Clean Room Technologies. Auditorium, Birla Planetarium. We thank the entire staff of Birla Planetarium, Sharma ji, Mahesh ji and entire staff. Advocate Shashank Garu and S.B. Kabra sir. Felicitating convener team. Our chairman, C.A. Amrit Kumar Kota Garu. Advisor sir, Ramdev Budra ji. Convener for this today's program, C.A. Pankaj Sancheti, co-conveners, C.A. Leela Krishna and C.A. Pravalika Vebala. Okay. We'll take group photo along with bench members.
I request all the GC members come to the dais. All the GC members.
కానీ ఎంతమంది నిలబడలేరు మీ కాళ్ళకి మొత్తం టేబుల్ వస్తుంది
All the members have said everyone is here, not because what we are going to announce now, because you have come forward, taken the challenge, worked on it. So have you gained something in this whole process? Yes. Have you gained something?
Yes.
Yeah. So the award is just a milestone, and the jury would have already told you how tough it was. It was very time kind of a contest between all of them. So irrespective of who comes first, second, third, I would say that's a milestone. But the more important achievement is that you have laid the foundation of experiencing and working on a real life criminal case. So this will help you build up the habits of arguing cases, doing research, working as a team. So all these things, you have laid the foundation. Now it is up to you to take it more forward. Tax bar is there to help you, everyone. So first we will announce the participants who can come forward and take their participant memento, and then we will move to the teams which have stood out from all the teams.
Already said, we are giving memento to each and every participant. So when I call teams, please come forward, the entire team, and collect your GC, and don't get down from the dais because we will have a group. So sometimes we announce teams, and the entire team should come and collect their mementos, and then please stand on the dais itself so that we can have a group.
Team B, Shivanageshwar Rao and Co. Represented by Kota Saujanya, please. Members are Uday Kumar, P. Bhavana, and N. Sai Kumar. Team SHA and Co. Hruday, Swarna, Akshika.
Yes.
Team The Tax Tacticians, represented by Subhash, Akula Rupasri, and Raju Kupala. Team EHD Advisors, represented by Ankit Mehta, Gopi Kumar, and Vanshika.
GC members can come.
The next team is Legal Forum, represented by Venkata Maliseti Venkata Tanmay, Atli Sai Kumar, and Sai Pradeep. Pooja and Krishna Chaitanya. The next team is Solanki and Associates, represented by Advocate Darshana Upadhyaya, Shruti Pandey, Devraj Sankala.
Sir.
The next is Rakesh S. Jain and Associates, represented by C.A. Suravi, Rohit Verma, Chetan Nahara. So now let us go with the winners and other teams, sorry. Vemla and Co, represented by Subhash Kanduri, Krantishri Vempadu and Chaitanya Akiri. Who participated? Kelvin Consultancy and SJ and SS Associates also.
So I request all the 36 members in a row and height-wise so that we can have a group photograph. So adjust yourself. Adjust yourself. So Ramkota garu, Manmohan garu, if you have to take a little bit this thing, so please come to the front sir, so that we will have a group photo with you.
इधर बदल फेस होने इनका वाले ओके सर रेडी स्माइल वन मोर सर
Then first runner up, then winner. Okay. So can you guess? Second runner up. SS and Associates. So I request Murli Mangaru to award the bronze medal. So President to hand over to the winners with the hands of the Manmohan sir and Ramkota sir. The time for the silver Vimla and Company. So these are President's team from Vimla and Company. Subhash Kandur, Francis C. Chaitanya Agate. Because I have to tell Family Consultancy Limited. Take the group photos. Associates, sir. Ready, sir. So at the end we are having Thank you, sir.
Raise for
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे